Boom. We are alive, ladies and gentlemen. Be grateful for that. This is Tio in the Arcane Bear. Another beautiful day in the markets. The recovery is strong. Matic at new all-time highs at $1.50, screaming long, really proving the sentiment between the lack of liquidity and the volatility on the open market. And we'll be going over Cardano in today's video as well. Another new all-time high pumping. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the rest. We'll try to make today a little bit of a longer episode. These new kind of coffee crypto morning ideas, what we want to do is just maybe trying to get it out of the way so I can deal with the rest of my life before going out into the world. So we're going to start actually with Matic for fun. So look at this. Matic has been one of my favorite plays. Now, for those of you that are new to the Arcane Bear family, you'll have to remember that we were making entries into Matic down near the basically 1 to 3 cent area, which is extraordinarily low, right? So from that 1 to 3 cent area, we are already up like 5,000 times, which is absolute insanity. And it really taught me something. I actually exited a bunch of my plays around March of this year, around the 10x spot approximately. And one of the things that venture capital has taught me is to leave a lot more on the table. Now, I took out around 60 to 70% of the position, so 30% of it is still riding, which is great, but I really did not expect that we would see these massive highs in the rest of the ecosystem. And it's one of the things about venture capital that I think is so important to understand, that when you're dealing with asymmetry, not only can you just lose, well, so let me start this again by prefacing one of my favorite mottos and leading sentiments has grown to be heads I win, tails I only lose a little. So when we were first making our investments in Matic, the goal here, as in all of my venture capital plays, is to put in how much I am effectively willing to lose, right? So say you drop 5 grand, 10 grand into Matic and go, well, cool. Let's hold it until maybe it goes to nothing. But the other abstraction is dealing with asymmetry to the upside. Recognizing that not only can you go up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60x on some of these plays, it is astronomically important, I think, to recognize that if you go back, if you look at all of our private newsletters, all of our early entry stage into Matic was around the 1 penny area, which puts us at 9,000%, almost 100x. That is astronomical. That means if you put $10,000 in, you're now sitting on $1 million in less than 173 days. This is what asymmetry to the upside looks like, and it should not be negated. Now, one of the other really kind of key factors here I want to go over is our Glassnode data. I should have organized this a little bit better. But so one of the fun things about Glassnode is it actually gives us data on Matic as well. And what we want to go over, and I've gone over this a bunch of times, is just about the open liquidity of when you're looking at trading, etc. What you want to do is focus on the amount of supply. I believe it's actually on the exchanges. So we're going to go to exchanges, and we're going to look at exchange balance percent. And what this is going to do is it's going to show us the amount of Matic there is on the open market, and then the price movement itself. So let's use a line chart just a little bit clearer. And we're going to focus in on basically since January effectively. So we'll scroll in, we'll zoom on just on January. So from September onwards, you can see the blue line is the amount of Matic that there is on the exchanges. And somewhere here between February and March, a massive amount of the supply, approximately 20% of it, was taken off of the market. And because of that, look at the level of volatility. Now here, let's go over this here too, because this is a really key moment. Notice this area here. We'll focus in on just this now. So notice on basically March 15th was the start of our trading range. So here, March 15th, March 11th, actually beautiful to see. On March 11th, Matic hit the first buying climax of our horizontal trading range. And we stayed in this nice trading range here till about April 25th. And as you can see, on approximately April 25th, the supply dropped from 7%, and we are now down at only 2.9%, 2.5% of all Matic is left on the open exchanges. And we've talked about this with Bitcoin and other tokens as well, is that as the open supply on the exchanges decreases, the volatility increases both to the up and to the downside. And currently, Matic has only been decreasing. You can see we went from 3% to 3.2% to 3% to 2.9%, down to 2.5%. This is an extremely important variable function to keep in mind because it increases the volatility. Now, that's both again to the up or downside. If all of a sudden a bunch of Matic, around 0.5% of it came onto the market, we would see a dip. But again, that's not what we're seeing. So yesterday in the private group, Jerry pointed Matic out. And again, you really want to keep an eye on the open supply because it will help you understand your positioning here as well and how you should factor in your risk case scenario. When there is such a little market supply left, these prices move up astronomically quick. I actually saw Jesse Dow in here as well, who is another great friend of mine. I follow, big support, big fan of his as well. I know he jumped into Matic at around this 80-cent mark right off the top of this trading range here. So again, when you see an SOS and a backup, an SOS and a backup, these are generally very bullish moves that come out of the trading ranges. And we've gone over this many, many times. Actually, we've gone over this every single day in the markets almost, at least since March 11th, so over a year now. These horizontal trading ranges and the power that they bring to the bull market when liquidity is reduced on the open supply. So again, here is another SOS into a trading range, which is your backup, SOS, backup, SOS, backup, boom. This huge fiery moment for Matic because of that lack of liquidity on the supply and the open exchanges. So as time goes on, what we want to do is really keep our eye on where is the open market supply coming from or going to. So this is key. You know, we've gone over this with Bitcoin, but Matic here at 3% is, I think, the lowest I have ever seen a market supply. So expect some extreme volatility. Matic could fire into incredible prices here. Okay, let's move on to Cardano. So Cardano, first off, you know, I was chatting with Tech Team yesterday. Shout out to Tech Team. Absolutely love all the work that he does in helping us find new ideas. And he said he was blown away by Cardano. And we were just talking about basic randomness and how the market functions. You know, he knows much better than I do how to do on-chain analytics. And he's like, look, Cardano is basically a dead chain. There's hardly anybody building on it at this moment. And Charles Hoskinson has been doing a great job of trying to get people to do it, but still, it's not really there yet. A lot of this price discovery that Cardano is in, although has been extremely bullish, is based more off Charles Hoskinson's, let's say, his community hype than it is from the actual chain functioning. And this is always one of the interesting parts, right? Is that you can go through the process of doing all this due diligence and all this deep dive into fundamentals, but when it comes down to it, it's sometimes not important. The amount of applications that are being built on Cardano, which is basically zero to some degree, doesn't seem to matter because people like Charles, he likes the community, and they're buying the hype, right? We saw the same thing with Doge. It doesn't really matter to some degree, at least during the bull market. Now, over the course of the decade, we will definitely find out if Cardano is a leader. But again, take a look at even early stage entries into September to where we are now. You're talking about a 2,000% return. Or what about even back from April when we started screaming that the bull market had started? You're at 5,000 to 6,000% returns for a chain that basically has no activity on it, at least from what he can tell. Now, again, I'm not super savvy. I actually like to consider myself kind of stupid, although I'm sure that's not actually the full case and point of my story. I like to play, let's say, ignorant and go, okay, well, what am I watching here? You know, Binance, the smart chain. One of the reasons why we thought and why we made investments into BNB is because even though it's not the best technology, they've got a great community. And I think Cardano is another representation of, even though the technology is not being used in an extraordinary amount, they've got a great community. And the community can drive prices into astronomical movements with apparently very little effort. So it's always important to keep that on as well. That understanding the growth and focus of these ideas doesn't always mean that you want to understand the fundamentals. Making a venture capital play says heads I win, tails I only lose a little. If you put $1,000 into Cardano in October, you'd be sitting on around $20,000 today, approximately. That's a huge return. If it was Matic, it's almost $80,000. So take a quick look at synthetics. it's really nice to see this strength in the rest of the ecosystem. I believe that was the bottom for Bitcoin. Sorry to everyone in the private group, just that I wasn't available yesterday. I had a great little, I was on a little date, I guess, to say the least. So that was really nice. I had a great day off. So I apologize if I wasn't there. I know a lot of people were freaking out. They're like, "Oh my God, Bitcoin is like, it's bearish." It's like, no, guys. Like, everything looks sexy as fuck still. Just ignore all the like people thinking that it's bearish. Like, we wanted to we touched the 21 moving average. We haven't touched the 21-week moving average at all this bull market cycle. It held up extraordinarily well, and now seeing all of this momentum in these other areas, I think, is just further evidence that this is not done yet. Synthetics here is another great I think, example to share the opportunity of understanding these horizontal trading ranges, and the fact that when you look at them, they're really designed to kind of to make you bored. Let's say you took a position in synthetics here at the first test, which is March 25th, basically speaking. You've been sitting in a position for like 50 days to basically barely go, what would feel like barely going anywhere, while Matic is up a few 100%, right? So almost the entire point of the reaccumulation area is to make the retail investor bored and shake them out. It's to get rid of people who are over emotional traders, who have the disease of the beginner investor. And the best way to overcome that is by joining a private group and mastermind. So make sure you go to arcanebear.com/private and sign up for the private group, because if you like trying new things and consider yourself adventurous, this place is for you. Remember, we do offer a no questions asked refund guarantee, so why not give it a shot? We are right in the middle of this bull market, and we've got just a little bit more ways to go. But more importantly, over the next decade, when we know how well we've done with Matic, this private group has yielded many millionaires just by playing along for the last 2 to 3 years. So don't worry about just, oh, what am I going to do this month? How well is my portfolio going to do by the end of the bull market? Think about the next 5 years and what it's like when you're in a private group where we've been talking about Matic for 2.5 freaking years, right? Be wary of like the new style. Well, whatever, do whatever you'd like, but we'll keep it at that. Serum, one of my favorite plays right now. I think it is highly undervalued. Obviously, there's a big market maker in here. We've been pushed right back. Here we had our SOS. We've been pushed right down into what looks like it's probably going to be our spring. We'll probably consolidate and build a little bit up here between the 8.8 and the 8.0 range, maybe $7.8 range, and just kind of fill this gap here before going significantly higher. I think Serum is extraordinarily undervalued, and because of that, it's got a long ways to go. So I'm going to do some more videos later today as well, just going over single tokens, some of their fundamentals. And guys, if you haven't yet, I'm a huge fan of a new IDO that is taking place right now. So we've gone over it in the private group. So you guys always usually get things a little bit later on the front end, just in case. But the Mercurial Finance IDO is running on Bonfida on the 20th. It's currently live on FTX. I'm a huge fan of Mercurial Finance. Again, this is a venture capital play. I live by the sentiment, heads I win, tails I only lose a little. We've seen on our TerraBlock investment here, which we, again, in the private group, we saw almost an instantaneous 4 to 5x for everyone that got in the IDO for that one as well. I suspect Mercurial will do extraordinarily well over the coming years. So I'm a huge fan of that. And the Mercurial VC pool on Bonfida. So check that out as well. Big fan of these early venture capital plays. You've got, so after a long while, proud to announce the Mercurial Finance VC pool on Bonfida, how to participate, etc. We'll leave these links down below, but more importantly, they are always being posted in our private group. Okay, back to this. So seeing this nice, again, kind of what I suspect is the bottom of the SOS for Serum will be nice. Again, I do suspect a little bit of accumulation in this area before going much higher. Probably around $24 is kind of my guess. Ethereum recovered very quickly. And again, this is another clear indicator to me that what we're witnessing in Bitcoin is a very temporary moment. The big players are trying to shake out the weak hands. So I apologize if you got shaken out, or like, that's sorry to hear that. But this is the game that you're willing to learn, is that it costs money to play. Generally, it's better just to focus on long-term accumulations. And with the venture capital plays, apparently with Matic at a 10x, I exited too fucking early. Who would have been able to think that was going to be the case? But yeah, with what we're seeing in Ethereum here, this really quick bounce off the bottom of our Bollinger Band, right to the top of the Bollinger Bands here, I suspect Ethereum is going to continue its run. And I think that Bitcoin is not that far behind. So yesterday in the private group, again, I went over this. I said, I'm pretty confident that this is the bottom. We're seeing a lot of reaccumulation. Although, again, I want to make this very clear, guys. When I talk about the potentials for going to like 32,000, that's a potential. It's not a probable. And I've said that, right? It's not probable that we go down to 35,000. And if we do, it will be an amazing accumulation point, right? So I took a few profits on Bitcoin here just because we're already up 10x on the core of the collateral. And I always like having more USDT in the bank because I use it for venture capital and I use it to acquire more positions, period. So here, could we see the move down to 37? Yes. Is it probable? No, it's still in the unlikely scenario, but it is a possibility. And so we need to keep in mind that when I say possibility versus probable is a very different sentiment. As far as I can tell, we are still in a rising gradient bottom, and it looks very noticeable. I'll clean this chart up a little bit here. It's much more noticeable when we're on the area chart. So we've talked about this before. One of the reasons why I like using the area chart is because it gets rid of all the freaky sentiments of people getting scared. Look how beautiful this bottom has stayed intact, and look how beautifully the top parallel channel has all basically, move this up here, basically stayed intact as well. Oh, hold on, I look like a 5-year-old learning to draw here. Boom, well actually, we can even pull it down to this more robust area at around 59,000. So I think we're following this rising gradient bottom. I do believe that was, look at the absorption that came in here too. Look how much buy power got sucked up real fast. There were big players waiting on the sideline for that. Do not be the small player who gets pushed out of their position here just for a small, like, what is this, a dinky 11% gain. Like, if you're doing that, you're basically a noob, especially when we know the potential here, which is thousands of percent. Like, why even move around? Why cause yourself the stress? It's just not worth it. It's not worth the stress. It's really not. I promise you, I've been doing this for over a decade. It's not worth the stress to think about this, like, oh, I'm going to cover my position. Just, I don't suggest it. It doesn't make any sense for like a 11 to 12% play. Always have USDT on the side though, right? You should be bound, like if you're like 95% all in crypto, you should rebalance your portfolio, period. Like regardless of where we are in the price effectively, because you want to be able to play in other areas. What if you wanted to make a venture capital play and you need an extra 10 grand or something? Well, are you going to sell Bitcoin at a technical like loss in your mind? It's good to shave off profits into strength and make sure you have USDT or C on the sidelines to continue to play this game. And I think it is extremely important to remember that what we're doing here is not trying to buy and sell and trade. I think trading is basically a horrible way to go. Like the reason we look at the trading ranges is to evaluate where we are in the market so we can evaluate the risk of being in the market, not dink around with basically a 15% move. It's not worth my time. Now, again, this is always hard when you're new and you're trying to build your portfolio because you're like, yeah, I could make an extra X amount of dollars. It's like, well, yeah, but if you just sat tight often in a play like Matic, you'd be up hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars if you played it correctly. So don't dink around. Don't get too stressed about these small plays. I mean, look, some people like day trading. I don't. I've clearly stated over and over and over again, I don't like day trading. Do I do it every now and then? Yeah, because I think it's amusing. It's like riding a roller coaster, jumping off a tall waterfall. But it's not something I do all the time. Like, it's more of like, oh, I'm going to go do something random and exciting today. From your general portfolio, like, you know, again, we sell on the strength. We make sure we've got extra USDT, somewhere between 5 to 10% every time I see these big run-ups. And then more importantly, I took a big chunk off the table just to make sure that I have USDT to cover the next 3 to 5 years of business operations. Everyone's in a different place with their portfolio, but more often than not, the best way to play is to focus on the long-term viability of venture capital and asymmetry. You will be rewarded tenfold in comparison with these small moves, because you're going to get caught up, you're going to get excited, you're going to get confused, you're not going to re-enter, you're going to end up missing the play. Like all of a sudden, before you know it, Bitcoin will be back at $64,000 and well on its way to new all-time highs. Meanwhile, you're just trying to pick up a few percent on this downside. It's really not worth it, and I suggest you ignore those. Okay. Let's go over to the live stream chat. I see JW in here as well. Nice, good to have you, JW. I saw Bear Den Jerry, Bear Den Jerry's been absolutely killing it. I love Bear Den Jerry's attitude right now. He's like, yeah, I'm just holding my portfolio and watching it grow. Doesn't have to play, doesn't have to do a whole lot, and gets to watch his portfolio grow extraordinarily well. Bear Den Jerry says, set it and forget it. My favorite quote is buy right and sit tight. That's kind of like one of my other personal lead sentiments. DJ Wisdom says, hey, Tio, I appreciate your valuable insight and tremendous outlook on trading in life. I really think that we should probably not call it trading. It's one of the downsides is I'm not really a trader. I'm a long-term investor. And I reallocate small positions of the portfolio just so that I have USDT for business and for venture capital. But that's basically it, right? Like, what if Mercurial does what a Matic does? Well, I'm patient enough to wait the next 5 years to find out. So it's really about building yourself a stepping stone pathway to that process. So again, we'll just kind of finalize with Bitcoin here before we go over a few more of your guys' thoughts. Could we come down lower? Yes, it is a possibility. Is it a probability? No, not in my own. Look at the absorption that came in at this $49,000 area. And the other thing I wanted to highlight here is something we have not looked at in quite some time, which is the moving average at the weekly at the 21. I do have to put the candle wicks here for you to see it. Look at that. You know, we've talked about this many times before, especially in 2017. It was one of our lead indicators. You can go back and watch all those videos between 2017 and 2018, especially the 2018 run when we went from $3,000 to 13,000. One of the reasons why I said it was unsustainable is just the lack of touching the 21 moving average. So this 21 week moving average has actually been a pretty consistent growth pattern for multiple different, like whether it's the traditional stock market or equities. The 21 week moving average has held pretty stable. And this is because a lot of big funds use these longer time frames. They're not interested on the day-to-day play. They look at weeks, months in advance. They're not like, oh, we're going to get a 10% move. No, we're looking at these very stable tests of the supply range on the long term. And on the very minimum, the weekly, usually because funds are reallocating their portfolio on the quarterly for tax purposes, for all sorts of reasons that we focus on these larger time frames more importantly. What I want to go over here again is the fundamental focus of trying to follow the market as a whole. The absorption that we pulled in, and it's clearly noticeable on the daily here. Where were we? Let's go back. What have I done here? Boom. Boom, 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 to boom, boom. Let's get rid of these moving averages for a sec. Let's clean back up. We'll go to our chart here. I think we were on the 6 hour. Yeah, okay, here we go. And we'll go back to our area chart. Okay, yeah, see, we've seen a lot of absorption come in on this first primary fall on the 4 hour right here, and all that sale volume on the second, and this is really important too, guys. See this amount of supply coming in here? Look how very little that did to the price. This was a very clear indicator that we hit the bottom at around 48,000. That's my opinion, at least based off the supply and volume indicators. Look at how much supply came in. Look how very little price that moved, right? There was so much buying power that absorbed this almost instantaneously. I do believe we're going to turn around here. We're definitely going to test the $54,000 area. We'll probably break above it at this point. We got rid of so many weak hands over that Elon Musk tweet. I mean, all the retail investors, anyone who watches Twitter got scared out of a position. Who was going to get scared out of a position? The rest of the bigger players are just accumulating. I bought more Bitcoin yesterday. I managed Managed to grab a little bit, which is nice. It's always nice to have USDT in the account, and that's the purpose of that. It's not so much to be like, oh, I want to make a trade. It's just so, okay, well, if I'm shaving off, do I have more so that when things happen like this, can I buy more? So it was nice to see that. More than a trade, it's just an accumulation strategy, effectively. So this is nice to see. Everything looks very strong and powerful to me on the recovery. And again, look at the absorption between these two supply signatures, and then the way that the secondary supply here barely moved our price at all. Like we barely moved like a 2% versus this massive strike here. So we'll finalize by going over Glassnode's data. We'll go back to our favorites. We'll go favorites. We'll go Bitcoin. Which one was it? Open supply exchange balance percent. We'll get rid of this. Boom. And this is one of the, again, this is one of the fun things. We went over this with Matic this morning. We saw a massive amount of supply come onto the market on that, basically on Elon Musk's tweet. And we could hypothesize again that this was mostly retail. The big funds are generally not selling near the bottom of the trading range. They're usually accumulating at the bottom of the trading range, right? So a big fund, or let's say anyone who's relatively talented, knows that if you're below the point of control on your general trading range, you're in an accumulation zone. So pretty much anything below $54,000 was a buy, right? So retail got shaken out here. If you're selling on the downside, I'm sorry to say you got retailed, but effectively anything below $56,000 was a buy for these big players. And again, we're going to probably see a quick run up to 54,000. We may even retest the $52,000 area. And then I believe we're going to rip into new, probably the top of the trading range here. I was a little weary about this moment to begin with anyways, especially after we didn't close above the point of control. But again, nonetheless, I'm not trying to trade this. It's just horse flack. It's not worth it when we've got like 100x plays running alongside. Like, it's just not worth my time, my energy, my focus, or even a little bit of disdain for the nonsense that takes place between here and there. It's basically rubbish. Like 10% is rubbish, right? It's not worth it. You want to be making sure you're taking even small, like when you see a peak out, take 2 to 3% back into USDT. Like I said, guys, you should make sure that you have an operating side to be able to take advantage of these down moments. Whether it's in capital in your bank account or shaving off USDT, it maybe make, you guys have asked me exit strategies. In the middle of the bull market, there's no reason to be having an exit strategy, but you can have let's say a 2 to 5% reallocation back into USDT when you see these peak out moments to wait for these like exacerbated downside moments as well. So just to kind of a heads up, maybe that's a better way to go. Think about 2 to 3% reallocation into USDT from your larger collateral layers when you see these just strength in general. You should not be selling on the downside here. That's a rookie move. Okay, here we go. Let's see how you guys are all doing. Check link. Dot finally broke. Yeah, we'll go over a few. We'll go over link dot. Let's see. Daredon Jerry says I'm lazy. Being lazy pays off tenfold, right? Doesn't it, Jerry? Just ignore some of that nonsense in between. Jason Mayer says 30 up, brother Tio. Bear Den Friday. Grateful to be here. Great to have you with us, Jason. Thank you. It says Aradi Mushi says I was addicted to day trading. That's how I learned about crypto, but now I'm significantly more patient. Smart move. NFT Art says, yeah, JW is right. Helmut Private Group is a great place and awesome for more advice. Awesome. We love the private group. Thank you all to the Bear family who support our private group. I'm a huge fan of that. Try to get rid of all the takers and just keep with the people that are givers. We'll focus more on that as we go forward. Dot is breaking out. You guys keep wanting me to look at Dot and Link, I think. Just kind of for fun here. Before we'll look at Dot, but there's a few really good ones. Look at RLC back up 40%. The volatility there was insane. Wow. Dot, boom, here we go. Oh yeah, so Dot's right in the middle of the trading range. It's not breaking out yet. Be cautious on how you frame ideas, I think. Clearly Dot is in the middle of its accumulation range, so it's not breaking out. Let's not get too hypey here. We're not a We're not a hype channel. Although I'm excited about the crypto space and I loved it. We're actually dead center in the middle of the trading range and now not breaking out, but we are definitely moving towards the top of the trading range. We've kind of seen the first sign of strength here. So nice to keep an eye on that. But again, we see this across the board right now. We see that a lot of the digital alternative sector dot looks a little cleaner here when you use the area chart. And I guess you could say, sure, we're breaking out of the trading range. Maybe I shouldn't be such a schmash a berber do about to fish of us because it's, yeah, we did kind of break the top of the trading range at the moment. But again, you're looking for the sign of strength and the backup. These are the real key indicators that we're moving forward. Link is another one you guys wanted me to take a quick look. Oh, look at, there's 1 inch. 1 inch had a nice SOS and in its backup phase right now, holding strong here. If we hold $5, which I'm sure we will, that will be great. Maybe I'll do more just one-off videos today. I've got Emin Gunn, the CEO of Avalanche, coming on the show later today. So we're going to be doing a podcast with Emin. I'm super excited about that. I wanted to go over, you guys wanted me to go over Link. So let's open Link up. Yeah. Okay, nice. Yeah. So primary SOS into the backup phase. I would like to see a little less volatility in Link here. So let's say probably another week or two before Link can show us more strength. Again, remember, Link's been a fairly consistent bull market. I just don't think its volatility is going to be as powerful as things like Matic, where are kind of in their price discovery mode. Link's been in price discovery for a while, so it's less likely to be as powerful. Just a sentiment there I'd like to share. Whoa, guys, whoa, stay away from using all capitals. I may just ban you from if you're using all capitals because it's horribly annoying to other people. It's not like, unless you say smash that like button. Give us a thumbs up if you like this content, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate all your guys' support. Day trading is akin to gambling. Yeah, I like the venture capital stuff has worked extraordinarily well for us. Again, the reason we use trading ranges isn't to trade. Remember that. We make them to find entries, especially in the middle of a bull market when we're like, okay, is the risk to reward relationship here viable? And is it worth taking that risk? And effectively, it's just trying to find out where the fuck we are in the market so we can know if that's an important, like if it's worth it. Not, oh, I'm going to make a day trade. I'll jump in here and move out there. Like you're just going to lose money. Don't do that. Don't listen to people that do that, or you can, but you're just going to lose money. You're going to end up coming back to the Arcane Bear being like, why the fuck did I listen to these guys trying to trade everything? You end up doing worse than if you had just bought Matic and done fucking nothing like Bear Den Jerry. So shut the fuck up and enjoy the ride. The best traders are dead. Yeah, and Glasswalker, I think it's actually the best investors are dead. The best traders are probably not even in the market anymore because there's very few of them that actually survive. I highly suggest reading the book Fooled by Randomness. Day trade, like Nassim was not a day trader, right? He bought small. Anyways, that's another story. You guys are asking a lot of questions. Adam Warmley, you're more than welcome to leave. We don't need you. We don't need you. No, we don't. We don't need you. Bye-bye. Butter token is up 160. Guys, I just ignore stuff like butter token. In the middle of the bull market, everything does well. So it's probably not worth following the hype. Again, look, if you take the sentiment clearly though, heads I win, tails I only lose a little. People like Bosnian Dragon, who've been messing around with some crazy named tokens, have done really well. Because if you're only risking $500 or $1,000, you can do extraordinarily well with very little risk. And that's such an important part to understand about the faction. You should take into note as well that your investment strategy should include education, right? Your ability to go play and learn something new is one of the most valuable things that you can do. And your education is more important than your investment. Like learning how to do something, like whether it's use Avalanche or play with PancakeSwap, that is equally as valuable as the investment itself. So do not refrain from participating. Anyways. Nice to see Ethereum poking above the Bollinger Band here. we get a close above this, we're going higher for Ethereum as well. Very, very likely we're probably going to rip to like, I bet you we'll see the bull market continue here in Ethereum. And again, I think Bitcoin's going to really quickly run up. It's not, just keep going. Let's see. People are dumb. Thank you for taking the time to teach all of us. Yeah, apparently everyone, a lot of them want to get vaccines. Generally dumb. Well, not all vaccines, but mind you, by the way, like if there's enough data, like I don't mind. Like I've taken my yellow fever, my typhoid, had tetanus shots if I got bit by random, or I got stepped on a nail or some shit, right? But anyways, that's a different story. It's all about data. It's all about data. And we've got clear data, right? We've got clear data. You can go look at all of our private videos or private newsletters, or even our videos talking about Matic, Fetch, Seller One that have all done over 50x in 2 years. That means for every $1,000 you put in, you're sitting on $50,000, right? Why mess around with something that works so prolifically well? Most Def says, VET is amazing. I did my study. Congrats. Again, that's the most important part, guys, is I can't and don't have the mind or the eyes or the ears to pay attention to everything. If you think something's interesting and you like playing with it, do that. I can never suggest anything more valuable than you going through your own participation and educational process. What's a stable altcoin you can buy today? I think USDC. I mean, that's like an oxymoron that you just asked there. What's a stable altcoin? No, if you want an alternative digital asset, it's going to be volatile. Otherwise, what the fuck is the point of having it? And if you want a stable coin, why not just buy a stable coin? Rex Banner says, thank you for everything you do, Tio, and the Bear Den. Well, thank you as well, Rex. I work really hard to bring you guys much content as possible. Daniel Lisby says, you honestly have become my favorite YouTuber to watch. I'm brand new to this space and there are so many voices. It's madness. You are the calm in the storm. Thank you, brother. Thanks, Daniel. I really appreciate that. You know, it's a little disconcerting sometimes to see what becomes popular, but at the same point, that's the masses. The masses almost always get everything wrong. So at least we know that we're not in the group of people that are getting things wrong. Where do you see Matic in a year or two? That's an irrelevant question because a year or two is totally irrelevant. You want to think about 5 or 10 years. Yeah. A year or two is unimportant. You have much too short of a time frame in your investment thesis if you think a year or two is relevant. You need to think about 5 minimum, basically. Where do I see Matic in 5 to 10 years? Who knows? Do you think Polygon will keep going up? Guys, some of you are new to this sector. I can tell by the questions you're asking. You really need to revise the thesis that is focused on long-term accumulation strategies. Bear Den Jerry says, sitting on the beach and making money is much better than trading and sitting in front of a screen. I 100% agree. The only reason I show up here with you guys and go over these daily charts is not because I'm trading. Like, I have to make that very clear. I find an entry, like with Serum, for instance. Serum is a great example. Here's something I didn't have an entry in. I built most of my positions around $6 to $7, and we were in the middle of the bull market. So I'm trying to decide fundamentally, do I believe that this position here is going to pay off? We're up 130%. We retrace 40% of that, and then I think we're going much higher. So I'm not trading. I'm using these trading range to find long-term positions. And by long-term, you know, if the end of the bull market, when the end of the bull market starts to show itself, I will be liquidating parts of my portfolio. But again, into USDT so that I have more capital to continue to play venture capital, right? It's a pretty clear, easy sentiment. Don't mess around too much with trading. Quality of quantity, 100%. What is Taproot and why is it important? It's a group of miners as far as I know. Please give us your advice and expertise on Shibu, Madness, and Cardano. I don't touch Shibu, although sure, it could have done well. I'm just not a shitcoiner. I like fundamentals. Like, you guys can make money off shitcoins, but it's just not my thing. You know, and I bet over the next year, you're going to see a lot of regulation that comes in and smashes that down, just like we saw with ICOs. We have a much better, like the IDOs, like things like Mercurial, there's significantly better projects now. Can you make money off of them? Yeah. But that's not, I'm not going to do that. I like my little niche that I've found. We spent 2.5 years studying Matic to have a payoff. Keep that in mind. All right. It's 2.5 years of consistent Matic to get that big payoff. So I'm not going to fuck around with some Shiba Inu coin just because the price is moving. It's not my style. But it can work. I'm not saying it can't work. Like clearly it can work if you're smarted. Clark Anderson says Matic in 2 years too low to sell. In 5 years, who knows? Yeah, Clark, you're just not listening properly. It's not advice. First off, none of this is financial advice. If you thought it was, you clearly don't know what you're doing. We look for the most intelligent people. That's kind of why I'm a little bit of a dickhead, is because you really have to be able to listen through the flack that I give you to understand how valuable the content is. It's one of the reasons why we're probably a small channel as well. It's because I hold people accountable to their work ethic. If you come to this channel just expecting us to tell you what you do, you're in the wrong place. I focus on high level education, basically, like how do you be successful on the long term, and that's not advice. It's what I've done, what's worked for me. I don't know what the hell's going to work for you. Maybe you should be investing in mushrooms or psychedelic companies. I have no idea. Like maybe you don't even like crypto and you're just here to make money. Go find something that actually interests you. I'm not here just to make money. I love this technology. Since day one, I've thought Bitcoin could change the world and how we do finance and how we communicate value to people. That's why I'm here. David Rollins says, you're freaking awesome, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that as well. Anyways, Tio, I love how you think. Appreciate you guys' support. Again, I scare a lot of people away. Matic is definitely not a scam. You're talking about Coinbase and fees. That has nothing to do with Matic. What do you think about Engine Coin? I'm not into NFTs. Again, guys, I try to stay. Oh, Clark Anderson says, honestly, I really enjoy the information you're putting out. Oh, okay. Well, sorry, Clark. Again, sometimes, like I said, I'm kind of a dick. And if I didn't scare you away already, well, then there you go. You're doing great. A smart ass is a lot better than a dumbass. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Again, guys, I try to make my content a little to try to scare the average person away. You need to be quite focused to be successful here. And it's like going to boot camp, you know? The sergeant gets right in your face, like, fuck you, you pansy. Like, it's actually significantly better to have that mentality. You get more done. Marco says, only 320 people watching is a crime. This content blows most channels out of the water. Keep it up. Thank you, Marcos. Again, I'm pretty sure the reason why we're small is because I'm kind of, let's not say mean, but I'm like a drill sergeant. I don't give you the space to be too flacky. A song by the fire one morning? Yeah, well, we could do that. We could do a song, or we could do like a morning fire outside moment. That'd be fun. It's been a while since we've done that. I'm investing in crypto so I can invest in psychedelics. Nice. I love that. Hey, 340 people online right now. Please give us a thumbs up if you appreciate and enjoy this content. Remember to subscribe to all of our social media channels down below. If you are new to the Bear family or you're new to investing and consider yourself adventurous and like trying new things, why not just join the private group? Give it a shot. Again, we do offer a no questions asked refund guarantee. It's literally no risk. And if it's too expensive for you, look, we do this kind of free. We produce videos as often as we can. Is it wrong to start liking crypto this month? No, I think, again, guys, focus on what you're interested in. I really like the potential of what these things can do for humanity. And that's always been my sentiment since day one. Mabrosi says, if kids can't take the baby talk, they'll never have survived. Can you talk about BTT? Again, I want to make this very clear. I stay in my circle of competence. So right now, everything that I have open, they're not for NFTs. They're not for like, oh, we're going to use seed pirate, what BTT is, BitTorrent. Like none of that shit falls within my circle of competence. I stay focused on communication of value rails. That is it. If it's communicating value through art, I don't fucking understand it. The only reason I found the NFT conversation interesting is because I'm an artist. I like producing art. And that's what, like right now, this is art for me. I'm like, this is some of my art form. So I try to stay within my little circle of things that I understand around financial rail, or let's say value rails. FK says aloha from Playa Negra. I believe that's in Costa Rica. I appreciate your perspective that you bring, the tech and price versus value and philosophy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love this with you guys. Francis says, I just subscribed to the private group. Can't wait to meet you there. I'm really stoked. We just brought on a new biz development lead. We're scaling up. We're working on bringing other content creators on. We tried to earlier, but you get a little bit of a flacky flack people who just like to poach ideas instead. It always kind of sucks. Open the doors to be as like trusting as possible, and you just get flack. But now we're making sure anyone who shows up actually has to have some skin in the game, so they don't do that. You guys want to hear some flute? We'll definitely end off today with some flute. I love that you guys appreciate the music and all the randomness. Hey, bro, would you please suggest me a best coin to make 2 to 10x profit? Not a chance. I will never do anything like that. Anyone that tells you things like that in general is just not a good way to go. The thing that's going to make you the most profit, though, Yash, that I can give you a suggestion on is to read more books, to do more study, to do more homework, and to participate in learning process. If you're just trying to make money, you're probably going to lose on the short term. You need to focus on the thesis, on the philosophy, and more so than the technique, follow the guru for the way he walks on a day-to-day basis. We'll see you in the private group there, Francis. Bear Den Jerry is excited to have you. Yes, you do research and actually not just looking at stats. Yeah, the reason why we're doing a lot of the trading ranges is just to understand where we are in the market cycle more than anything else. Ali Shan says I longed ETH at 37 with 20x. You're a brave man. That's not my style, but if that's what you like to do, you do your own thing. If you want to jump out of planes, cool. You do your own thing. Like, I support people doing crazy shit if they're prepared to the downside consequences. One word for BTC. What? That's my one word. What? Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. Thank you guys. This has been a lot of fun. Oh, wait, hold on. There we go. That's probably what you want to see instead anyways, not just my cute face, right? Oh, hey, I wanted to go over this actually. Thought this was important. So Binance faces probe by U.S. money laundering and tax sleuths. This is an important conversation. Binance Holding Ltd is under investigation by the Justice Department Internal Revenue Service, ensnaring the world's biggest cryptocurrency. Now, first off, crypto isn't really used for tax evasion or money laundering because it is entirely transparent. The IRS is apparently fucking retarded, but we all knew that. The Justice Department is apparently fucking retarded too. It is the hardest place to launder money. Why don't you just use US dollars in a goddamn gas station? That's easier. Fucking idiots. The Justice Department and the Internal Revenue Services are fucking idiots. That's what this is saying, basically. The title of this article says the US tax agents are fucking morons. But here, we'll read this anyways. As part of the inquiry, officials who probe money laundering and tax... Oh my God. From individuals with insight into the Binance business, according to people with knowledge of the matter who asked not to be named because the probe is confidential, because they don't want to get shit on by the rest of the community for being goddamn rats, for a growing, budding nation technology services. We're just trying to play around, you motherfuckers. We're not laundering money. You know who the biggest drug dealers were? The fucking CIA. Like, get your goddamn shit together. Like, you know who we should be fucking filing criminal charges against and for tax evasion is the fucking CIA. Anyways, I'm probably going to get my channel flagged for that one. Led by Steezy, a charismatic tech executive who relishes promoting tokens on Twitter and media interviews. God damn, these guys are assholes. The firm, like the industry it operates in, has succeeded largely outside of the scope of government oversight. Yeah, it's because the government is fucking stupid and they don't even know how to can keep up with a decent scientific conversation, and you should be replaced. That's why, because you fucking suck at your jobs. If you work in government, it's because you suck at everything else and you couldn't find a decent job doing something productive for your community. Fuck the governments. We should get rid of them with this technology. Anyways, we'll just keep going here. We'll see how many more things I can get mad at. Binance is incorporated in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, of course it is, because there's no taxes there, and has an office in Singapore, but says it lacks a single corporate headquarters, just like all big companies. These guys are such fucking moron assholes. Chain analysis and blockchain forensic firm whose clients include, I'm getting a little upset at this article. Blockchain forensics firm whose clients include U.S. federal agencies concluded last year that among transactions that are examined, more funds tied to criminal activity flowed through Binance than any other crypto exchange. What about the funds tied to criminal activity going through the CIA or your fucking government, the corrupt WHO? Like, you guys are looking under the wrong fucking rocks. How much money by the pharmaceutical industry right now is pumped into the WHO to promote absolute trash and bury good science about other things that are clearly working? This is a very upsetting article for me. I apologize, guys, but this is a significantly upsetting article to me. I did not think that that this is what was going to be the case of reading this. I hadn't read it yet, too. We take legal obligations very seriously, engage with regulators and law enforcement in a collaborative fashion. No, you don't. You focus on things that have the most publicity for you because no one cares what you do. You're like, wait, they're basically clickbait hunters now. This article basically says the IRS and the Justice Department are so boring that they have to go after things that are clickbait worthy enough to still remain fucking relevant. Okay. I'm not upset at this. I swear, I'm not upset at this. Binance spokeswoman Jessica Jung said in an email statement, while adding that the crypto company doesn't comment on specific matters or inquiries, we have worked hard to build a robust compliance program that incorporates with anti-money laundering principles and tools used by financial institutions to detect and address suspicious activity. Yeah, of course they have. It's important, but it's a very small percentage of anything. You know, what about HSBC? Let's see. HSBC money laundering. Let's see here. In 2021, HSBC moved vast sums of dirty money after paying a record fine for laundering money. FinCEN files proof Europe's biggest bank aided massive Ponzi schemes while on probation over ties to drug kingpins. And what did this end up in? 4 days before the arrest, I just want to see where this article ends in. A 16-month investigation by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. Oh my God, BuzzFeed, another fucking totally irrelevant group of people who only focus on things that will get them clicks. FinCEN, profitable branch, more than $900 million total involved in shell companies, $1.5 billion, 6,800 transactions at the Bank of Hong Kong alone. The statement, HSBC defended the changes the bank made to the monitorship. The bank told the International Committee of Justice Compliance had investigated more than $1 billion in initiatives. See, these guys are, I fucking hate these government bodies. They're so far behind understanding how the world works. So what's the end result, though? What did you find? HSBC doesn't even tell us. Like, I don't care about a federal class action lawsuit allegedly against HSBC Hong Kong, the world's local bank, Hong Kong. Oh, Jesus, it doesn't tell us anything. Get to the point. And nothing. And it resolves in nothing. What did they do to HSBC? Nothing. They probably had to pay a menial fine. Anyways, this is a really upsetting article, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't think we'd end up here today. Spokesperson for the Justice Department and IRS declined to comment. Of course they did, because you guys suck at your jobs. U.S. officials have expressed concerns that cryptocurrencies are being used to conceal illegal transactions. What about the U.S. dollar? Oh my God, this is such horrible. This is such trash. Including theft and drug deals, that Americans who've made windfalls betting on the market's meteoric rise are evading taxes. Because who would want to give taxes to a government that bombs people, that forces them to... You're basically... why would you want to give power to a dictatorship like the Biden administration? You're basically a dictatorship. Anyways, it's a goddamn good thing I'm not American, hey? And then I'm a legal resident of a different fucking jurisdiction because I can say all this stupid shit. They're so off base here. It's such a small market in comparison. How do they not know that money laundering and drug deals on the blockchain are actually easier to find than the US dollar? Like, they shouldn't even be complaining. They should be so excited. This makes it so much easier for them to find the people. Anyways, we're going to end today's. Basically, I think that this is just a clickbait title because these government institutions have become totally irrelevant. They're focusing on things that don't even matter. This is not how you fix society. You don't fix society by playing this way. This is absolutely, you fix society by starting at the root of the symptom of where criminal activity usually starts, which is lack of education for people when they're younger, showing them there's a different way to make money. Anyways, fuck it. We're going to play the flute. We'll end off with the flute today. And, or maybe the guitar. We'll do with the guitar. We're just going to leave that. Just going to leave that where it is. Try to ignore. I think it's still in tune from last night. I apologize. I'm just going to stay away from articles like that because that was really upsetting. I hate these government institutions with like some serious fervor. I shouldn't even be talking about it just because I dislike it so much. Like, it makes me angry that people still trust the IRS or the Justice Department after all the shit that they've gotten away with. They are criminal institutions basically calling other people criminals. It is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Anyways, that's a side note. There we go. That sounds better, right? Thank you guys all for joining us today. This is Tio with the Arcane Bear. Remember, when you get mad at stupid governments and their nonsense regulation just to sit down and relax, we've never been able to get rid of them fully. They're like a festering disease, and they're nothing but a taint on human society. So, pay your taxes and stay out of their way. And just enjoy your life. I think one of my favorite quotes around the idea is, if you're worried about taxes, you're not making enough money anyways. And if your taxes feel too difficult, just hire someone to do it. That's what I do, because I fucking hate paperwork. See you with the Arcane Bear. Thank you all for joining us today and putting up on my ridiculous rant. This is fun. I had fun there. Feel good, guys. Enjoy your day. We'll do a few like single token updates for stuff that we missed on today's episode. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you all. Arigato. Gracias. Sama-sama. I think it's the only few languages I know how to say thank you in. Shay. It's Chinese.